As most people know, being positive is serious business nowadays. There are books and seminars everywhere that purport to tell you how to stay positive, and the many benefits that are certain to be yours if you can only manage to face the world with a smile. In the thought power arena, positivity is even more of a serious thing, because it is pointed out that positive thoughts create positive outcomes, and this is, after all, what we all want. But we might ask ourselves, do you really have to stay positive every second of the day? Some might wonder if it's even possible to maintain a positive vibe for such a long time, and if it is worth the effort. If you do believe in the power of thought to change reality, you might ask yourself what happens to all of the stray thoughts that you have all day long, and is staying positive all day the only way to deal with your crazy mind? These are fair questions because this is how the law of attraction works supposedly, and if we follow the logic of how servitors and thought forms are created, as I discuss in some of my books, controlling your thoughts and staying positive seems to be a very important thing. If you are familiar with the rules of thought power or have read my books on servitor creation, you will know that small thoughts can grow into bigger thought conglomerations, and these can create thought forms strong enough to affect our reality. Often these small thoughts are the worries of our day, the little thoughts in the back of our minds, that tell us that this bad thing, or that bad thing can happen. Since these thoughts then create emotions, and these emotions further fuel the strength of these thoughts, it is very important that we take responsibility for the many flittering thoughts that run through our heads. But some might ask, is being in an endlessly positive state the only way? While I do believe that we do give our imagination way too much freedom sometimes, I don't think that we can stop the power of these little negative thoughts by trying to wrangle the mind into thinking only what we want it to think, and feeling only what we want to feel. Gurus in the field of thought power and manifestation usually tell people that they should try to maintain positive thoughts throughout their day, and that they should be happy and positive as much as possible. Unfortunately, this advice can lead to many psychological complications, as people try very hard to narrow the focus of their minds, and try to unsuccessfully control the energetic flares within their bodies. Trying to maintain positive thoughts, and therefore a positive attitude throughout the day, can get quite tiring, and the moment that a person loses their focus, or experiences an event that completely disheartens them, they are often cast into a pit of negativity that can sometimes be very difficult to overcome. In order to understand why it is so difficult, if not impossible, for a person to try and maintain a positive frame of mind throughout the day, you must realize that the mind is a polarity. The mind needs polarity, and as such will always strive to see duality in everything. When you try to think positive thoughts, or you try to direct your mind into positive things only, the mind will always strive to create a negative thought and negative energy, of equal intensity in the opposite direction. There is always a build-up in the opposite direction, always. Let me clarify. In order for the mind to understand anything, it must first understand its opposite. For example, in order for your mind to understand beauty, it must understand ugliness, because without ugliness there is no reference for your mind to understand the beauty that it might behold. This works in every single thing that your mind can comprehend. In order to know goodness, you must know evil. In order to know high, you must know low. In order to know black, you must know white. In order to know and project positive things, you must know the negative that you are trying to overcome. What happens then, is that every time you create a positive thought within your mind, or any time that you try to focus your mind into the positive alone, your mind must always strive with equal vigor to create the exact opposite. Without this balance of opposites, your mind is left with a vacuum, that it must fill in one way or another. It will therefore strive with all its might to create the opposite of what you are focusing on. What this essentially means is that for every positive that you create, the mind wants to create a negative of equal value. If it does not, a vacuum is created within it that grows in power over time. You might be thinking perhaps that the negative thought or feeling is already present, that you are just creating a positive thought and feeling to fight the negative that was there already, so you are therefore not creating any negativity at all. If you are indeed very good at using your mind at fighting negativity in this way, then this internal effort can have some positive benefits. What is happening here is that you are balancing out the negativity in your mind or in your environment by creating a positive force to balance it. You are not, however, creating anything new. The moment your positive thoughts or feelings start to get stronger than the negativity that started all this, you are going to hit a wall. This wall is caused by the fact that there is no more energy freely available to fuel your thoughts of positivity. The negativity has now been cancelled out. Let's consider internal and external negative mental influences, using the above technique of changing a negative into a positive. If this negative thought that you had is of a completely internal source, meaning that it was something you created as your mind meandered around its own space, then the energy required to create a positive thought, to cancel this negativity that you just experienced, is not a huge one. As I mentioned earlier, every time that the mind creates a thought in one direction, it must create a thought in the opposite direction as well. You therefore only need to exert enough energy to be able to focus your attention in a positive direction, instead of the negative, to cancel out that negativity. But this refocus of your attention does require an expenditure of energy on your part, and this effort can become very taxing over time. Generally though, it would be fair to say that a strong mind might be able to maintain this type of focus for a long while. But the moment that this person loses focus for some reason, he will once again be at the mercy of any negativity that he was trying to overcome. Let us say though our example person is able to hold his attention on positive aspects. He is therefore able to completely cancel the negativity in his mind, and is able to balance it, so that he experiences a relaxed sense of mental neutrality. Now that he has made this gain though, he wants to actually create positive outcomes. That is, he wants to keep and increase his positive thought, so that he is able to manifest good fortune. What will happen then is that he will need to exert more psychic power and personal effort in order to increase the strength of his positive thought, so as to create more positive thoughts of a similar nature. It could be that this person has a strong mind, and is able to generate this extra burst of effort and focus, but as he does so, he will not only be increasing the power of his positive thoughts, he will also be increasing the power of his negative ones as well. In order to create, the mind needs to know where it is, and where it's going. To do this, the mind uses duality. In order to know more positive, it must know more negative. Without this duality, the mind could not create anything. So when this person creates more positive thoughts, he is also creating more negative thoughts as well. Since he doesn't know how to overcome this duality in his mind, he will eventually find himself experiencing a mental whiplash, as he goes from extremely positive to extremely negative, without knowing why. Now, if the negative thoughts or feelings are of an external nature, the energy output required to maintain a positive thought is not always realistic. It is very important that you realize that not all the thoughts and feelings that you feel come from within your own mind. Even though it is seldom mentioned by thought power gurus, we live in a sea of external mental influences that deeply affect us all, whether we are aware of it or not. Imagine then a person stuck in a traffic jam. His car is barely crawling along the road, and on all sides he is surrounded by hundreds of people, who are in the worst mood possible. Under such conditions, our example person would find himself in a gigantic pool of negativity, that is being created by all of the people around him. If this person then tries to think positive thoughts, he will be in for quite a struggle. If he tries really hard and is very good at focusing his mind, he might be able to hold back the pool of negativity for a short while. Eventually though, he will feel utterly drained, and as soon as his focus wavers, he will be plunged into a double dose of the negativity all around him. There is no way to fight, in this way, against the negativity of hundreds of minds. Those who would tell you that you can sail through all this energy and negative intent with a smile, do not understand the power of thought and intention very well. And this is not even the most negative situation you could face. The people caught in a traffic jam might be feeling pretty negative, but they don't often want to hurt you personally. Any internal rage that they might feel is usually focused at everyone, at the situation in general. Imagine then trying to use this technique while you are surrounded by many people who want to hurt you personally. You must be either as psychically powerful as all of them put together, or it will be like you trying to go up against an army. Your positive thoughts will not even be enough to balance out the negativity that they are putting out, let alone create a positive manifestation on top of it. By just using the masking of negative with positive, it is impossible to manifest a positive outcome against a huge mass of negative energy. If you contemplate all of this, I think that you will see why it is that you might be having such trouble maintaining a non-stop positive attitude. Why it is that you just can't stay happy in certain areas and situations, no matter how hard you try, and why it is that your life tends to go from super happy positive experiences to deeply negative ones. You can't fight your mind with your mind for the whole day, every day of your life, for the rest of your existence. And you can't use your mind in this way to try and fight against all of the powerful negative external influences that might surround you. There will, sooner or later, come a point when the huge vacuum created in your mind, as you try to focus only on the positive, and try to create only positive thoughts, will suck whatever energy you have available in you, and create the polar opposite that the mind must have in order to find balance. This will feel like a large psychological dam has just burst in your face, and you will be flooded by a very large dose of negative feelings and thoughts that can cause havoc in your life. In order to deal with the mind, we need a new logic. Instead of trying to think a positive thought when you first think a negative one, or try to feel a positive feeling every time you experience a negative one, and as a result create a giant power struggle in your mind and body, try instead to sidestep the mind altogether. Instead of trying to narrow the focus of your awareness, by only focusing on what you consider to be positive things, in some vain attempt to regain the innocence of a child, by essentially lowering the power of your perceptions, try instead to control the energetic flares that give your thoughts so much power. When these worrisome little thoughts pop into your mind, don't try to fight the mind with the mind, but forget about the mind altogether instead. When negative thoughts pop into your head, closely followed by the emotions that they engender, see if you can stop the energetic flares that these thoughts cause. Instead of focusing your attention on what is going on inside your head, focus your attention on your body. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, try to relax your body as much as possible. The funny thing about the body is that it can't maintain any emotional energy within itself if it relaxes completely. Emotions create energy build-up, and this energy build-up creates muscular tension in the body. If you willfully relax your body as much as possible, This energy dissipates and naturally ebbs away, without building up knots of tension. When this energy is gone, the negative emotions are gone, and the power of these negative thoughts is gone as well. Maintaining your focus on your body, and relaxing it as much as possible, when you are experiencing negative thoughts and feelings, will allow you to have power over what thoughts you empower, and therefore what you manifest. This is the leash that you must use, on your precocious mind. The objective then is not to try and control the mind with the mind, but to control the energetic output of your body. Without the energy output, in the form of emotions and psychic energy, that the body focuses into your thoughts, these thoughts lose most of their power, and lose their ability to manifest themselves as negative situations in objective reality. Using the technique of controlling the energetic output of your body will open up great new vistas for all those that had been trying to control their thoughts and narrow their focus in order to try and stay positive.